It is time.
Shark's in the water. Our shark.
There's a Sharknado coming.
Dragon sharks?
Are those sharks with laser beams attached to their heads?
Welcome to the Real Sharks.
That's good.
Yo, what up, all my real sharks? It's your host, Rob, coming to you live from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea on Anchor FM. I am joined, of course, by my two co-hosts, Steve and Billy, and we're here on episode 13 of the Real Sharks podcast. And we got some interesting subjects on this podcast. We're going to be talking about, do some movies need sequels? A new Forrest Gump? The Peanut Butter Falcon? And to all my listeners internationally, hey guys, thank you for making the Real Sharks the podcast heard around the world. We love you. Now let's get started with episode 13. So I don't know about you, man, but I got this. Have you heard of this? It's called Screwball Butternut Peanut Butter Whiskey. Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey, man.
Yeah, I've seen it. Where'd you get it from Walmart?
I don't know where I got it. I just got it as a gift from somebody.
Really? I've seen that at Walmart.
Someone was like, I love the show, here's some whiskey. I was like, oh. Okay, cool.
Nice. All donations are appreciated to the
because
Real
everyone,
Sharks podcast.
for all the true fans that know, host Rob does drink on air most of the time. Not gonna lie to our listeners. So sometimes when you hear me try to slur and stuff, that's because of that.
So what's been going on, man? What's been new in the movie realm?
Did you see this trailer called The Peanut Butter Falcon? It's a movie that's going to come out this month with Shia LaBeouf.
Weird. You want to say that?
I don't know how to feel about it, Steve.
Yeah.
I really, really don't know. I'm kind of I don't want to like trash it because I don't want people to think I'm being like insensitive to like people with mental handicaps or anything like that.
Right.
But the other thing is too, it's like a movie can easily make that turn to doing that just itself. And that's why it's so weird to be like, oh, it's going to be a good film or it's going to be a bad film. It's because it's all about execution with those movies. I mean, it's it's give or take, man.
Yeah, I know. It's
Sean Penn, I Am Sam.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's hard. I know that's
a hard one to do.
I know it's not Shia LaBeouf playing that role, like a Leonardo DiCaprio in What's Eating Gilbert Grape. However, though, you got to execute that role well. I mean, Shia LaBeouf's gonna walk that movie's gonna walk a thin line,
and it's
man.
The cast is pretty thin because Dakota Fanning's in it. I saw her flashes in it, and I was like, oh, I don't know. Shia LaBeouf he's okay when he wants to be.
Yeah.
But
hopefully his character doesn't have a back history of drinking moonshine.
Yeah, right. But you know what? Here's the thing about Shia LaBeouf. I kind of feel like he's a bounce back kind of actor.
This is
like
going to either be his bounce back or it's going to be his downfall.
Is this going to be his Iron Man, like for Robert Downey Jr.?
I think so.
Can he come back? Because I feel like he can. I don't feel like he's something that's just a lost cause. He was American's darling at one point. You know what I mean? He was in everything.
Yeah, and Holes.
But then when he came into his Transformers, Disturbia, Eagle's Eye.
God, Eagle's Eye. That's a terrible film.
Yeah, it was bad.
I don't want to say Robert Downey Jr. said it best in Tropic Thunder, but it is kind of true when it comes to those kind of movies. Because it's all about execution, man. Like Forrest Gump, as we said, it's a spectacular movie, but that's because the man's a war hero, It didn't make fun of the idea that he had a mental handicap or anything like that. It just told the story.
Right.
Or it didn't even bring it about, or it brought notice to it in the beginning, and that was about it. And then it, helped to play the rest of the story, though. But it was a great story. But then you have a movie like, I Am Sam, where it's so over the top. I mean, I Am Sam is good, but you can see where people say it is over the top. You can say
true.
You can see that.
Yeah.
You can see where people say it's over the top.
Right.
And I personally like it, but those movies are gonna have to be done very carefully.
And it's being done by Roadsides Attractions. And they don't have they have one of these records that are very scratchy. Like they've done Super Size Me, which kind of a subjective movie back then. And, it came back in 2004 about the guy eating McDonald's for a month. Yeah. And then they did movies like Teeth.
Oh, I love Teeth.
But that's another one of those things that's kind of
like
weird.
For those who don't know what Teeth is, it is the greatest movie ever made. Basically about a movie about a girl with teeth in her vagina. That's such a terrible transition into.
I don't know. I feel like he just it's a lot.
That.
Yeah, it's a lot of controversial things that they like to produce. The Cove, you know what I mean? The Good Hair that they did.
The Cove, man.
So
that's actually a good film.
But, yeah. Woo. But you can see the trend, right?
We don't do documentaries on this show. I mean, if anyone wants us to, please tell us to. But I've seen The Cove, and I'll tell you a little bit about that movie. It's one of the most brutal films I've ever seen. I mean, that's a lot of dolphin murder. Let me tell you.
Yeah. I mean, we're not gonna speak on that. But there's a lot of murder going on to mammals. But you could see the trend. That's what just kind of scares me. It's like that studios kind of picks up on like movies that are like shocking.
I can say the same thing about Lionsgate. I can say the same thing about Rogue Pictures. You know.
Yeah, so. True, but maybe this could be something. I want it to do well, but I'm also kind of like, do I care? You know, do you actually care if you see this film?
It does look interesting.
Okay.
I mean, it does actually look interesting. For those who haven't seen the trailer yet, it's about a guy with Down syndrome basically running away to become a wrestler. It seems, and he befriends Shia LaBeouf, who seems to be kind of a loner simpleton kind of guy, I guess.
It's an interesting concept. It looks good.
It looks good. I mean, I just hope it's done correctly. That's the problem. It's like, if it's done right, it would be good. If it's done poorly, look out. This might be the end of Shia LaBeouf.
But I can't knock it for not trying, because it's something that's different. We need more things that are breaking up the trend of what's going on.
More inspirational films.
Don't you want to be inspired instead of just watching it and never picking up that movie again?
Watching Keanu Reeves murder a bunch of people because they killed his dog.
Right, yeah, or just seeing, the next, what is Iron Man going to do? What is Captain America going to do? Or I want to see a shoot him up, kill him up, or a half-baked idea of, like, sci-fi.
Or if I want to see, aliens crucified more, I'll call Ridley Scott.
Yeah, I know. Like, if they need to bring out something for cash, they'll just sacrifice another great script from the past.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. I can't stand that, man. I mean, I can't stand that franchise now. It makes me so sad. So what have you seen lately?
There's been a lot of movies coming out. I've been seeing a couple of trailers. One that is just kind of like, why are they doing it? I can't understand why, but maybe it's a little too older. But the new Zombieland Double Tap.
Oh yeah. New
you Zombieland. Hear about
that? Yeah, no. I mean, I think it's kind of almost too long. I mean, God, it's been a while.
It's been a while, man.
It may be too late. I feel like it may be too late. This almost seems like it's just trying.
Zombieland came out like 10 years ago.
It seems like it's cashing in on a maybe the last ditch of an idea, possibly the last rights the studio has of a movie script. I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't looked into it, but I like Zombieland. I like the first one, but it definitely
decade ago, man.
It definitely was one of those movies that helped give rise to more of the zombie craze for Walking Dead and stuff, and helped pave the way for a lot of those things. But yeah, I think it's just been too long. It's been a long time. I mean, I know people that probably don't even know the first one now in this generation.
Right? Yeah, that's the thing. It's a whole different generation.
I mean, I saw people on Twitter saying I've never seen Zombieland. Should I go see it? It's like, yeah. I mean,
it's kind of important.
It's a good film. A little bit. I mean, but honestly, is it a good movie? I mean, it's a comedy first of all, so you can't ask me. I'm terrible. I know I give my harsh opinions on a lot of films, but is it good? I can't really judge comedies.
Yeah, you laugh at everything.
Overall, yes, Zombieland is really good, and I'll tell you why. And I'll try to be super ultra serious when I'm trying to review a comedy, because I really don't think it's fair for anyone to review a comedy movie or a parody movie and say, oh, it's a crappy movie or it's a bad movie. It's like, did it make you laugh? Honestly, that's just my opinion with comedies. Because I don't ever take them seriously for anything, unless it's like an Adam Sandler dramedy. But yeah, Zombieland is really good. It has a touch of a personal touch from the writers and the directors of the film. Fun note: when he puts the girl's hair over her ear, that was the writer's all-time dream when he was a young man. That was like what he said he always wanted to do to a woman before he kissed her. That was like his personal touch to the film. So, yeah, he's like he always wanted to brush a girl's hair over her ear. There was a lot of personal things in the movie. It's funny, Jesse Eisenberg. He plays Jesse Eisenberg.
Yeah,
I mean,
he plays him.
Woody Harrelson plays Woody Harrelson.
Kind of just plays him.
But it has some good.
Bill Murray is in it playing him.
Playing Bill Murray, and Bill Murray's great though, and it's funny. There's some parts though in it too that I will say gives a good tap back to older zombie films that it basically goes over and does better. For instance, we always see in the classic zombie film everyone has to die. Not in Zombieland. I actually enjoyed that. I enjoyed the hero part of Woody Harrelson when he jumps in the booth and starts taking out all the zombies. All the time in every zombie franchise you've ever seen, there's always that scene of the guy sacrificing himself and he dies. I liked it that he came off as the ultimate zombie-killing badass. I loved it. I liked that whole notation that he is just a guy out in this world that's just living to kill zombies now. It kind of makes sense because, you know, in the first one, spoilers, as they say, they killed his son. So now that's like all he lives for is to kill zombies. And I completely get it. If a shark ate my kid, I'd kill sharks all day long.
You'd be out there just like you're looking for Jaws, killing them.
I totally understand. I totally get it. I like the first Zombieland. I think it's a good movie. I just feel like there should have been a sequel 2 years.
It's like making a sequel to Superbad. Do you want to see that like 10 years now, you know, in the future?
Exactly.
It's like, why would you want to see it again? It's kind of like it's already done. I don't need to see it.
Could you imagine that Jonah Hill and all his prestige now?
Oh, gosh.
Trying to redon that character.
That would be bad.
I'm just out of high school, guys.
Jeez. Yeah, I don't know. It's
Michael
an interesting...
Cera trying to make
a comeback into acting and then acting like himself, but just now 10 years older. It's I don't know. Like you said, I think there's a lot of callbacks from a generation of films in the 2000s, especially early 2000s, coming back now. I don't know if it's just because it's supposed to be a nod or not. You know what I mean? Like we're seeing another Terminator coming out pretty soon. We're seeing another Rambo. So it's like, is this like 1984 again? Is this like 2005?
Terrible year for films, I feel.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Is 2019 a memorable year? There's been films like the obvious, like what is it, Endgame and so on and so forth. But where's the film that you're like, that was the standout
I basically
film?
paid to see Iron Man die.
Yeah, like that's a comic book film, and we that you know what? If you want to debate me whether or not it's a great film, I look at it all around, right? So you can't just crack a joke and be like, oh, that's funny, it's the greatest film ever, you know. But
Endgame?
Yeah, just Endgame, just any of those comic
Disney
book movies.
beat Disney finally.
Oh my god!
By going over Avatar. God.
Are they like reaching an inception rate at this point?
Let me ask you this: has Disney run out of ideas? And then before you answer this, let me say this. Let me break it down. Why? I've just noticed this a lot. Like we talked a lot before during our Don Bluth episode about how Don Bluth leaving Disney brought it into the Dark Ages. And we even told during the Dark Ages that Disney would release their old movies, and they figured out they'd actually make more money doing that. So now you see the same trend going on with them re-releasing their real-time live-action films. I feel like they're out of ideas. I almost feel like that's the case. They haven't come out with nothing really new, so they're just kind of going back, rehashing these movies, re-releasing them, and saying, hey, there you go. Because they know they're going to put asses in the seats. They know you're going to go see the films. And I think it's hilarious that some of you know that's what's happening, and you go see it anyway.
Yeah.
I think it's great. But I think Disney is literally doing this, one, for money, two, because I don't know if they have any ideas. They just, they bought up. They're probably busy with Fox. They're probably busy running. They're busy running Star Wars into the ground.
Okay, I'm gonna. I have two things. I'm gonna defend them first, just for a little bit, but then I'm not. So on their point, they have ran out of ideas, I believe, since 1995 when they acquired Pixar. Because after that, I felt like they basically bought the competition. It was like when WWE bought like WCW in like 2001. That was it. They had no other competition, and it was just them battling themselves. So after that, you saw a lot of trends of. Remember when Disney started like re-releasing all the original like cartoons from like the 20s and the 30s
That's what
and
I'm saying,
40s
because the
on
competition
DVD.
made them better.
Yeah.
And there is no competition.
But there's no
anymore.
competition. So how can they fight themselves if it's a Disney presents a Pixar film. Well, it's a Pixar film. They're the ones who wrote it, but Disney slaps their names on it and says
Disney
like it's a
presents the
Disney.
Muppets.
Yeah, I mean, what's the only one I can think of that was a Disney film that came out was Coco that they wrote. That was a Disney.
No, but yeah, Coco was actually pretty original. But not only that, I know I was just going to jump in. I was going to say Moana. But Moana is a rehashing of Pocahontas because they got so much flack with all the cultural representation in Pocahontas that they just silently redid it as Moana. I know some of you are going, no!
But it's true. Yeah.
It's true, though.
And they wanted to do another... they also want to do this thing where they're doing this live-action phase because they want to basically rehash their take on the... culture appropriation. Like they did Moana because they were like, well, Lilo and Stitch is kind of old, so let's do another one with a Hawaiian girl. We're doing Little Mermaid with a little black girl now. We almost did Mulan with a white girl playing Mulan, but then they got so much flack. So they're like testing the waters to see who they can, play their niche to for the money. And you're right. Like when you think it's gonna stop, like they bought Marvel in 2012, I believe, for $4 billion. Do you know how much revenue they're getting now from Marvel? Close to $48 billion. So they're basically making so much money right now that they literally think they're God. So when you have that God complex, what are you gonna do? You're gonna go crazy.
Finish him. Flawless victory. Fatality.
Right?
And that's what they're doing to the competition, man.
They're thinking of like Zamatsu over here, like just wanted to be like, I am justice, I am animation. There is nothing but Disney.
There is nothing but Disney, right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Whatever you want to say about Disney, have you seen the trailer for that Nickelodeon Dora the Explorer movie?
Oh my god.
Talk about...
It's a trap!
Wow, dude.
Why?
I could not believe that film. I could not believe it. Just from the trailer. I was like, and Michael Pena. I'm like, why are you playing every stereotypical Mexican role, my friend? Seriously, stop.
And he's such a great actor. What is he doing?
Stop. You should have just walked away from that one. Oh my god, did you see the cheap laughs? Did you see that quicksand mud part with the farting? Like, who thought in their right mind, they're like, hey, let's rehash fart jokes in this movie. Like fart jokes are so,
Who's the audience for Dora the Explorer?
God, man, I'm sorry, but even parents have to sit through that.
But that's what I mean. Like, what parents, though? Like, the Dora the Explorer kids that watch them are grown. They're, like, in their 20s now.
Oh,
so they're going to be going back and thinking, like, oh, yeah.
Oh, wow, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, you would think about it. Like, they're in their, like, early 20s, like 19, 20 years old. Jeez. So who's the audience for that?
Let's stop there. Let's just make a Blue's Clues live action movie. I'll go see that.
Yeah, go get Steve from whatever place he's at. No judgment to Steve or anything.
Get that sweater on. Go get that sweater.
It's like, I don't care if it doesn't fit. Put it on. Yeah, it's a little weird. Again, like it goes back to what you were saying. Do you think they're just grasping at straws as just for this year, or is it just film in general?
I mean, just this year, film in general.
It's just I don't know what they're gonna do. What are they doing? It's there's no originality coming out, or is it just me?
Maybe
it could just be me.
It's just what we get under the sea here. I don't know. It's
we don't get cable anymore.
Yeah, we just get whatever movies fall down here. And we'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen. And welcome back to the Real Sharks Podcast. I saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I wanted to just kind of talk about that, give a little quick review. I have to say, it is the best Tarantino film to date. It's very, very good. Definitely 9 out of 10, man. Very good. I'm not going to give too much away in the film. I'm just going to give a basic little review here, but Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt pretty much play two cool guys the whole movie, almost like a Fight Club mission. And don't let that spoil the movie for you. No, they really are good together. Leonardo DiCaprio is a big actor, and Brad Pitt plays his body double, or a stunt double, if you will. And basically, they both live two polar opposite lives. It's really unique, and they're best friends at that too. man, very mature for a Quentin Tarantino film. Very, very mature. There was little cussing, but not as much as a Tarantino film. There was violence, but not as much as a usual Tarantino film. A lot of smart callbacks to the ages, which I would take Tarantino as going like like look at me, look how
he does
awesome
that.
I've become.
Right.
But it was so mature. It was very, very, very well done, well organized. The process was good. It was funny. When there was violence, it was good. I mean, the whole film is going to go down as one of the greats. It was a really, truly good film. I don't want to, and it, for those people who too are wondering, did it emphasize the Sharon Tate stuff? No, it didn't. That's a very, very small aspect of the film. Bruce Lee, there's a part with Bruce Lee in it too, which is really awesome. Brad Pitt and Bruce Lee have a little throwdown, but it was really good. Overall, it was good. I went into it with a lot of expectations for being a Tarantino film, and also with kind of low expectations because I always think, well, he's gone this long, could it possibly still be good? All the star power, we talk about that sometimes in
Right.
this show, how
It's huge cast.
a lot of star-studded movies sometimes are terrible because you have so many people competing for the shine of the film, and it just comes off as too raw and too undone, so it doesn't flow correctly. So I was actually really impressed with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I really enjoyed it. I really recommend it. Definitely 9 out of 10 there.
It's very interesting that you said that. That is probably one of the better films that he's made, because obviously we're not even going to go over his track record, speaks for itself. But a lot of his films are very, very polarizing and very subjective, because there are people that usually love him. There's no with Quentin Tarantino.
This one is kind of I would say for a broader audience. I know what you're saying. Like Django was definitely,
You either love it or you hate it.
you either love it or hate it. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I definitely think it should bring in other people who should have. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood will definitely make people who don't really like Tarantino appreciate Tarantino a little bit. I really feel that way because it's not his typical film, but it was.
Okay.
It was like him not playing it safe, but him showing you I can do a great movie that doesn't have to be all over the place, that doesn't have to have these multiple stories and angles and all this and make a whole script, collide at one climax. No, it was just a simple, straightforward film, and it was good.
It's interesting. I like that. I like that for Quentin Tarantino. Maybe he's calming down his style of directing, but that's a very interesting
then he
thing that
wants
you
to
said
Kill
there.
Bill 3.
Yeah, okay. Well, if that's the case, then Jesus, don't do that. But yeah, you said something interesting. You said that he's kind of like, look at me, I'm Quentin Tarantino, with some of his acting
Callbacks, smart little references to the times.
Yeah, that's very interesting. That's very George Clooney, excuse me, George Lucas type thing, like Steven Spielberg, older type of directors that got to the stage where they're just like, I'm untouchable kind of thing. Like
props were out of this world too.
Yeah, interesting.
They really made it feel like the times too. It was really good. I'd actually say it had better props than Django. Yeah, because Django has a mix. It's half old school, half modern time. There's some things in there you're like, they didn't have that back then, obviously. Of course. But it was really good. I definitely recommend anyone go see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. This whiskey is pretty fucking
films,
good.
Guys.
It's a sheep. You see that sheep on there? Like, man.
Oh, God, dude. I love this show right now.
What? Because I just did a sheep voice, went me. No. Just why do you have your shirt off? Why do you have your shirt unbuttoned right there?
I know. What do?
What the fuck are you doing? Are you trying to rock chest hair?
No.
You're trying to rock chest hair. Oh my God, ladies and gentlemen, he's trying to rock. He's trying to rock. William is trying to rock.
Did you watch Miami Vice lately? What happened?
Oh my God, dude! The only people that can pull off chest hair is Persians and definitely not you. Should I even mic you on? Jeez. Yeah, you're on the wrong channel there, buddy. Yeah, you are. God.
Chest hair.
The chest there. What are you doing? Smack.
I forgot I was on fire.
Yeah. I think the chest hair's gone in your head.
Oh my gosh.
You literally woke up this morning and was like, that was a good look. Have you been doing that all day?
No.
You've been doing that all day.
I forgot
You've been doing that all day.
Oh God, what have you been doing?
He's been doing that all day.
Oh my god.
Imagine Bartok in an open T-shirt with chest hair. Ladies, I'm surprised you're not banging down his email address.
Good Lord.
Anyway, we were just talking about things we've seen lately.
Yeah, and you know what?
You're here. What have you seen, Mr. Chest Hair?
Yeah.
Chest hair.
Did it have to do with your new image look?
No.
God, do you think just because we do this show now professionally, you just like, God, I'm just gonna go out
Just
now?
go all casual, all crazy. Like.
That wasn't casual. What are you talking
That
about?
was not, bro. That was like you were doing some auditions for something before you came in here.
I want to revisit the Boondock Saints too.
Oh, okay.
You know, when this movie first came out, I defended it wholeheartedly. I said the only difference is between this one and the original is it's not the original. But you know, after I recently went back and revisited the movie, I gotta say I'm really disappointed, and I feel like the Boondock Saints did not need a sequel. I don't think it did.
Really?
I think it was so over the top. There was too many campy moments. Like, you know, right off the top of my head, for example, the music in the earbuds from the first one with William Dafoe. When William Dafoe was going over the crime scenes, you would see he'd put the headphones in, and he would go throughout the crime scene. In that one, everybody was doing it like it was, you know, the thing to do all of a sudden. And some of it even came off as a joke with one of the detectives just like, you know, doing it and doing a funny song.
Romeo, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like Listen to Queen or something like that.
Yeah, and
it was terrible.
It was bad. You know, the Mexican, oh my God. I don't even want to laugh because I thought not only was his role absolutely atrocious that he was white and they didn't even get a Mexican to play him, but that he was so over the top with the raza and all this stuff. I was like, wow, this is borderline almost offensive now that I look back at it. And so stereotypical, like some, you know, LA Mexican in Boston or whatever. I don't know if that's what they were going for, but it was,
that was like blood in, blood
it was
out
stupid.
bad.
Yeah, it was stupid bad. Just both the brothers' characters were just so
Connor Murphy.
Just so weird. Their whole idea of the whole premise of it was dumb. Like, why come back at all? Like, I thought about, I was like, why come back at all? Like, you would think, like, over time, like, somebody wouldn't copy their killings at one point, and, like, that's the first time there was a copycat person that tried to mimic their crimes.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't it happen in the first film as they're doing it? Because they were gaining traction then. There should have been somebody like, I want to do it too.
Exactly. You would think there'd be a lot of them afterwards, but no, you know, it was that one that offended them, and then they, I think it was funny too, even as they say, they come back and they cut their hair and they do all these different things. Why? When you would have been incognito the whole time, coming back in beards and, you know, looking like the caveman from the Geico commercials.
Oh, yeah. Are you talking about the montage when they were, like, rubbing each other? Naked. It was
throbbing wet. Yeah. Squid knows a little bit about
that. Yeah. You're insane.
But, yeah, you know, the only person in that film, and you guys are going to laugh, that I thought was worthy of even a mention was Gorgeous George.
Oh my God! Really?
I actually liked his part, and I thought he was funny. But even even Julie Benz was too over the top, and I think the only reason she was brought in on that film was because she had just come off of Dexter.
Yeah.
And you know, she was basically hot at the moment. I just feel like they wrote her role just too over the top. I didn't like the gunslinging scene. I didn't like any part of any of the nostalgia that they brought in that movie to try and rehash the original idea. What I especially hated in that movie, and I think it's guilty of one of the most biggest movie flaws ever done, one of the most biggest pet peeves of mine in movies, is flashbacks of an old movie. Basically, when they would say, oh yeah, don't you remember this one happened? Flashback to the original film. Like, we need to know watching the second one. We're obviously watching the second movie because we know there's a first one. There is no need to emphasize the fact of this scene taking place from the first film unless you want to remind everyone that that film even exists.
Yeah, that's not a good. That's a tale of a film that's not confident in itself.
So,
if it has
yeah,
to go back and reference, like, you guys get it, like you're
You remember that because this movie is so old and the sequel took so long to make.
you're making the audience seem like they're stupid.
You had that Roscoe part, which was so bad. I hated that whole scene. That whole speech on top of the roof.
Yeah.
It was so terrible. The whole "thanks for coming out" part. It seems so just shoved in there. They should have just made that the trailer for the film because it just seemed out of nowhere. It really did because the cop gets shot. All of a sudden, they have this montage with Rocco showing them how to talk about being a man and stuff and weird, odd tropes and all this crap. I mean, absolutely stupid. It was bad.
Yeah,
And Troy Duffy took too long to make the film. Period. This is what it is. But they just took too long to make the film. Period. And then, now we're not going to see another one because Norman Reedus, he's worth way too much now. And Sean Patrick Flannery, I mean, he's old. Yes. I mean, he hasn't done too much. Well, he's done a little bit, but
a couple things.
Yeah. I just don't think it needed a sequel. I think Boondock Saints should have just stayed the way it was.
Do you think it makes you a little bit more irritated that they left it open-ended with the twins being
and the fact they threw William Dafoe in the last bit, didn't tell anybody, like, oh yeah, don't forget you're gonna like it because William Dafoe is in it for this little itty bitty part,
like 30 seconds worth of time.
Yeah, was he like on a fishing boat or something like that?
Yeah, he was fishing.
He was on a fishing dock.
Yeah, whatever. But they were basically talking about, we're gonna get the boys out of prison and all that, and they're stuck in prison, and it was like the end.
And it was
bad.
It was bad, man. And everyone's like, "Oh, I can't wait for the third." It's like, no, you don't.
No, it's never gonna happen.
No, you don't.
I mean, there was so much speculation.
No, it's not gonna happen. They both said they're not gonna do it.
Cult films.
The only thing he said that he would do is they want to redo the film and totally recast it. It's gonna be two totally different people. He makes the third one.
Or do you even want to?
I don't want the third one. I just said I did a whole bit here about how I don't even wanted the second one.
No. I don't mean that. I mean as far as just cult films like this in general. When they get a film that's a second installment and they force the third one for the trilogy and just for the money's sake. If they do the third one and they say they recast everyone, it's still going to suck. It's going to be the same premise, same story, same characters, just different people, which is gonna probably piss off even more people. Like, oh, they have the original, and there's no Willem Dafoe, blah 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 blah. And it's like, it's not worth it. It's not worth going down that road. The first film should have been its own. It's like making two more Big Lebowski films. You never want to see.
You ain't down for Big Lebowski too?
Oh, I love Big Lebowski.
Oh, there's actually talks about doing a Jesus movie. The guy who licked the bowling ball. They're actually talking about doing a movie with just him. I don't know how they're gonna do it. Like years later. I would watch it.
You don't mess with the Jesus, man.
I know. I mean, he was such an interesting character in the movie. Just to have him have a movie on his own is amazing.
Who's your audience for that movie, other than you?
The Big Lebowski cult following.
Yeah, but they're not big enough to hold that film. Who else?
You'll be in that theater, Steve.
I'll be there, but I'm going to be looking right and left and be like, who else is in here?
I mean, I don't know, but that's what I heard. It's what I was reading online, is that there's in talks about doing this. I mean, if they do it, then they do it. If they don't, then it's just hearsay, like Boondock Saints 3.
Yeah. That's you guys bring up some solid points. It really does bring that question though. Like, do cult films need a sequel, even though they gain traction over time? I've talked about this a little bit.
It's because the cult, like we've talked about before, cult films are gone nowadays because you don't have the video rental store. You don't have people that are referencing that now. But what you do have is you have all these older. You have what you had in the past was a lot of studios finding these movies that did have a cult following, and they would buy the rights to them, buy the rights to distribute them, and what they would do is they would also own the rights to make a sequel. So Boondock Saints, didn't go to theaters, but then 20th Century Fox saw how good it was doing, and they bought the rights to it, and that's how the sequel is even able to be made, because they bought the rights, they own it. Now 20th Century Fox can do whatever they want, and they gave the money to make the movie. to have it produced and come out and distributed. But that's hard to do nowadays because, you know, to find a cult following film is hard because
the internet pretty much makes any film that comes out not a cult, right?
Yeah.
No,
Or do you think so? I don't know how I feel
doesn't.
about that, because even if a film sucks right now and the internet is predominant and there's going to be some people that like it, oh man, that's a hard argument, because the video, like, movie rental stores was like the medium between those films, and you don't have that guy saying, hey, check out this gem that was from like 85 or something that no one ever heard about, and then it gains all this traction, and it's a hearsay, but the internet is sort of that way too. There's a lot of people saying, hey, bring up this film from 1976. Will we get that like 10 years down the line? Hey, this film came out in 2005. It's a gem. No one cared about it, you know, and pops up on Reddit or pops up on Twitter or Instagram, and now it's a cult following, and now people want to make profit off of it. It could happen. I wouldn't knock just the internet, but it is a big difference why. I do agree with you, Rob, that the video stores, you don't have that guy. You just don't have that guy.
They created the cult classic.
Yeah, you don't have that dude who is just sitting there like, watch this film. Do not watch that AAA that came out. Watch this one that, you know, where it came from, or the idea of this came from. You don't have that. Everyone's kind of just feeding the beast.
Yeah, and that's why I said now you just see them rehashing and remaking films now, because there is no cult movies to grab onto because they don't know where to look for them. And we'll be right back, my listeners, with more of our discussion.
Do you or someone you know struggle through life with anxiety-related mental disorders? Ever get that feeling that you are one of the few? I'm here to tell you that you are not alone. Take a journey with me as I talk about key points in my past and how they may have led to me being diagnosed with anxiety and panic disorder. After which, we will talk about different ways to tone down the anxiety and maybe even beat it together on anxiety. The easiest way to remember the name is by thinking about how one searches for a state of zen in the midst of the anxieties of life. My name is Gerald, and I'm the host of Anxiety.
And welcome back, my listeners, to the Real Sharks Podcast. I want to revisit a film for you. I want to revisit The Thing.
Ooh.
Not the old one, the new one.
Oh, the new one, the one that's basically the prequel.
Yes. What year?
2011.
Yeah.
I want to revisit The Thing, the 2011 prequel. I want to ask you guys, was it that bad? I'll go first. I liked it a lot. It was a story I was really interested to see. I enjoyed the nostalgia of all the touchbacks. I thought they did a great job at keeping the story parallel with the original. I thought the cast was great. Thought the acting was good. Did not like the special effects. That was one of the biggest, huge slashes of that movie for me. That was one of the biggest points taken off of that movie for me. The Thing was all CGI'd. But overall, I thought it was a good film. And why didn't it do better?
You know,
let me ask, did you like it?
Oh, I loved it. I mean, I love the original. I did not hate it. At first, I didn't think I would like it as much. But you know what? It is a very good film. Like, it is a very bookend film, prequel to The Thing. You buy it. You buy it, right? Even the credits at the end tie right into the beginning of the...
Thought it was great. The
was
dog,
good.
yeah. The whole part with
it
the dog.
It did get stupid when you actually see... I didn't want to see...
The love part.
The love part. And I did not want to
yeah.
see the alien ship.
I didn't mind that.
You really?
I gotta agree with Rob on this. I actually liked that they brought the ship into it. I thought that was amazing.
I kind of felt like it lost the mystique of the Thing, because you're just like, that was the whole thing about the first film, was like, okay, this thing, where did it come from? And that's, you don't want to see it.
I will touch back on my own argument, though, is it was very X-Files.
Yes.
That part of the thing when they win the ship. Now, that's what I'll knock it up. That's why I'll give it to you on that, Steve, of like, oh, did you like that? Yeah, I liked it, but
Mulder,
I was like,
Scully
when I saw that, I was like, whoa, this is like the X-Files right here for a second.
You're expecting Mulder and Scully to pop out any second.
Just out of like a little tube or something, just like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
Another thing I hated they did exactly the same tropes from the first film, which was a big like about it. Like they did the whole we have to tell who's who.
Who's who?
Let's look at the fillings in the teeth. First they were gonna do the whole blood test, which was like that was like the coolest thing in the first film.
But then
then did the teeth. So they basically did the same thing. So
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
how
I get that. But was it bad?
It wasn't bad, but it was like I get the
thought it was a
callback.
solid prequel. I mean,
It was.
I've seen terrible prequels. I've seen terrible sequels. But this one, you know, as we were talking about The Lion King in one of our last shows about how it was a frame-by-frame remake, as you could make the argument that The Thing, the prequel, was a frame-by-frame almost rehashing, but it still added enough premise to its own to make it its own movie, to make it its own thing.
Yeah.
Literally, no pun intended, to make it its own thing, but it was good. I thought it was personally good, and it gets such a lot of flack.
It does.
Were you like feeling, because it's a horror, so a horror you kind of have to be scared.
I honestly wasn't that scared in it though. It didn't scare me that much. I will give it that.
Not as much as the original.
Not as much as the original, because the original you're like, holy shit!
Even
like,
now,
what's going on? Yeah, even now when you watch that, it is an insane movie to watch. It's insanely scary. But yeah, I wasn't that scared, but I thought it was a solid prequel.
It was.
Yeah, that's a very good one. I feel like that's a good one, and they came out in 2011, where that year was not a good year for prequel.
It went under the radar too,
Yeah.
and when it was seen, a lot of people were like, "Oh, it's terrible. It was awful." I was like, I didn't think it was that bad.
No, I remember the first time I watched it with you.
Yeah.
Actually, you said this was the prequel to the original. I mean, okay, this is kind of cool, but you know, I mean, how you guys were saying with the in their teeth, I actually kind of like that. That was a different change from the blood. Also, I didn't like how we said about the love interest. I did not want to see any love interest in it.
And the fact that the ending, it was him, you know, the person she's in love with was the thing, and I was like, like, oh god, who didn't see that coming?
I like the twist. She was, you know what, and I like
I didn't think it was a twist. I saw it coming a million miles away.
About the guy
Like a
being the
sniper
thing.
rifle.
Yeah.
But you know, but I like how she was. I like horror films that don't make the final person stupid. Like she was on her toes in the beginning.
That is
she
true.
Was like,
she was like, you are, you know,
you're a thing.
You're the thing.
You know, I'm very perceptive because she could have been like, yeah, I know, right? It's dumb effects, man. But you know, I'm gonna push somebody's buttons on this show with one movie that had a remake in 2014, and it's a cult classic. It's got a couple of films in its library, very well known.
Zorro? I'm just kidding.
Not Zorro, but we're talking about 1987 and 2014's RoboCop.
Oh god!
Oh my god!
Don't even come to my corner.
Dead or alive.
I don't like RoboCop.
So RoboCop 2014 came out, and it was so bad that it almost killed the reboot game. That they were like, we need to stop now.
Are you kidding? I thought it was the best one.
No, it got.
Please, for the love of God!
It's worse,
I know
but
you're joking.
I don't know what you guys are talking about because I think the original RoboCop is ridiculous, and I
like the original.
I thought the remake wasn't that bad.
I gotta hear,
What?
and that's
No,
see, this is
my
the thing I
God.
gotta
I think it was
hear.
that bad.
Why do you think that the RoboCop 1 or just the trilogy in general is stupid?
Because it's a guy who's a machine who basically runs around solving crimes and mystery, and he's like the best cop there is. So
And he's not
the
even
only
running.
cop.
He runs.
It's just dumb. I think it's silly. I mean, I've seen all the RoboCops, and not one ever stuck with me as I like these movies at all. I always saw them with friends, and I was like, God, these are so stupid.
So you're a Terminator guy when they had the Terminator versus RoboCop?
Yeah, Terminator all the way. I mean, I always saw it as like basically if they took the Terminator and were like, let's just make him good, and they were like, but we gotta be cheap. But it was also like a rip off of like the $6 Million Man, Steve Austin.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, we can rebuild him, we can make him stronger, faster. But it's like, let's make him a cop. So I never liked RoboCop. I just thought they were. You know, I don't want to say stupid because I know a lot of people that love those movies. I just didn't like them.
No, but that's a good argument to say that. I mean, why you
So,
don't like it.
You know, I'm weird. I'm weird on that stuff. Like one thing I know you guys are going to blast on me right now, and I'm going to go ahead and give you all the ammunition you need, and I will go ahead and defend this point. I think the M. Night Shyamalan Avatar is better than the show. I thought it did the show perfectly fine.
I never watched either.
I thought it did the show justice.
I thought
Alright.
both were horrendous. I saw it, man. Really? When I saw the trailer for the Avatar movie, I'm thinking, is this gonna bomb as much as Dragon Ball Z Evolution? And
Came out before it.
Oh, it came out before it.
It got
yes.
close. It got close to that.
I didn't think it was that bad. And you know, I hear this argument a lot of people who know the show hate the movie, but people who have never seen the show and seen the movie, they don't think it's that bad. I'm one of those people. I don't think it was that bad. I was kind of like, what are you guys all yelling at M. Night Shyamalan about? And then I was like, oh, okay. Then when I saw the original show, I was like, oh, okay, the Ong and Aang. I was like, come on, bro. How could you get that wrong? Like, that's like a simple just turn on the TV and watch it for 5 minutes kind of thing. Did you just get the script and you were like, yeah, I got this movie Avatar, I'm just going to write it.
It almost killed his career. If it wasn't for
it
Split,
pretty much did.
Yeah, well, if it wasn't for
his career for that time.
Until Split came out and then the Glass film from the Unbreakable series came out, it kind of revived him a little bit. But yeah, they almost. You know what? I'm just gonna bring that up now that I'm gonna.
I thought it was all right.
Yeah, you know, and that's the thing. I don't want to like go against you guys because I agree with you, Rob. I know people are gonna start throwing grenades now in our little pond and just kill us all. But you know what? You know, the real Starks are standing strong on this. I was like, what's the big deal? I was like, I don't understand why people are upset.
I mean, I was like, oh, so what? They didn't call him Ong and Aang, and what? Instead of like the whole. They manipulate elements. They have to dance to make the elements work. Whatever. Okay, who cares?
And that was a really big, like, people like,
It was better than them throwing fireballs and water balls and all kinds of stuff at each other. I mean, I was just thinking the whole time it was Dragon Ball Z. It was just like, elemental stuff.
Right, okay, so, and Billy, you should have never mentioned the name, man, but that's the film, Dragon Ball Z. Or no, it was just called Dragon Ball, right?
No, it was Dragon Ball Evolution.
Dragon Ball Evolution, Dragon Ball. So it's not the Z. Right, and I used to bring up that argument that hey, it didn't have the Z on the end, so technically it's a Dragon Ball film.
It was only done by 20th Century Fox because they 20th Century Fox because they were the rights for Dragon Ball that they had for it were expiring.
Yeah, I know.
They had to do something or give them back.
Apparently, they have something in the works beforehand when
they've been writing it for a long time.
Yeah,
real live action adaptation. But my God, how could you mess that up so bad? I mean, there are remakes and reboots. Like, there's like Total Recall, for instance. Total Recall, you could say it was, for the most part, it was a reboot, a remake, whatever. It was an adaptation, whatever. But for the most part, it got most of what Total Recall was.
Yes.
Conan, let's go even farther. Conan, off the books, off the comics. For the most part, yeah, I got it right. There is nothing in Dragon Ball Evolution that is remotely right about that movie and Dragon Ball Z whatsoever. It's like watching two totally different things. Yes. Two totally different things.
I mean, how do you not like Master Roshi?
Let me break this down. First of all, Master Roshi lives on an island, not a goddamn apartment in Manhattan.
Right?
Second of all, Goku, which I love this idea of, like, the whole pure and innocent character that we all grew and loved. All of a sudden he goes to high school now. It's like, that was the whole point why Goku was kind of stupid, because he never went to school. Never went to high school. And then all of a sudden it's about Goku's going to gaming school with Chi-Chi, and it's like, he's not the cool kid that gets to go to the parties. So he has to, stand out.
Yeah, he has
with his those energy ball farts or whatever they were.
Whatever they were, I don't know what it was.
He used the Kamehameha to heal Master Roshi.
I thought that was the weirdest thing ever.
Not to mention, the story premise is awful. They tell him that Piccolo and Ozaru once tried to take over the world. Now, if you don't know anything about Dragon Ball Z, I'm sure you're like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? Okay, first of all, I'll just break it down to you. Piccolo is a villain in Dragon Ball Z. This is a thing. He is a villain for a while. He's actually one of the major villains in Dragon Ball.
Yeah, the last one.
And yes, he does try to take over the world. Now, fair enough. They can have that part. But Ozaru is the giant ape that Goku turns into at night when he killed his grandpa. So what the fuck are they talking about, Ozaru? So is this Goku when he was an ape and Piccolo trying to take over the world? But not only that, it's a giant, like, 50-foot ape. And they reduced it to an
8-foot ape.
And a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar-sized chipmunk.
Yeah.
That was basically what it was. That's what it was. It was a chipmunk.
Oh my God.
And I was like, he doesn't even have a tail.
No.
I mean, there's some basic things in Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball, just basically the Dragon Ball franchise that you can go. These are rules like Goku can't turn into an ape unless he has a tail, or Saiyans, whatever you want to say, can't turn into apes unless they have tails. They did it right. He just did it off the cuff right then and there. Just turned into an ape.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember back to it. Was it Under the Moonlight too? Or
I don't remember.
It was. I think it was. He was looking at it, but it doesn't make sense that he found his ancient gear that just happens to be the training gear that was supposed to be from Master Roshi. That was another what the hell?
They called it airbending.
Yeah, that's right. It was airbending.
They call it airbending.
Oh my god.
Good God.
You
didn't like that. That's a very interesting part. You didn't like Bulma either.
No.
They couldn't even make her hair blue.
No, they couldn't.
Oh, they gave her that one blue strand.
Or even Yamcha. Yamcha was a douche.
God, well, he's kind of a douche.
He's a douche
that
there.
Was that was the most accurate part.
I was gonna say they kind of got him, and he was cowardly like Yamcha a little bit.
Yeah.
I would agree, but not really.
You're really gonna sit here and debate us?
No, I'm not saying that.
Whether this guy was a good adaptation of Yamcha, bro. Dude, he was killed by Cybermen.
Yes, he was.
So, don't defend
he survived. You know what? I'm gonna defend him a little bit. He did survive that Android 20 attack.
He was cuffed by Vegeta.
To his face.
Please stop, both of you.
Yo, Yamcha
premature defense of a character. That's
the hero. The hero is Yamcha. I'm telling you.
Never did anything in Dragon Ball. He's just there.
He's just a little side character.
He was really cool at one point in time when it was like Wolf ain't this, and then it was like. And then he did that Spirit Ball, or I think it was Spirit Ball.
It was Spirit Ball, but he could control it.
Yeah,
that was kind of cool.
That was cool. And then he just
no, it was cool until Goku did his Spirit Ball, and then you're like, okay, yeah, that one's cool.
Yeah. And I suck at this.
Yeah,
so,
dude.
Yeah. There are just some films that don't need sequels, that don't need remakes.
That's an agreement. I think so.
And I think there are some that need remakes, like Battleship, starring Liam Neeson.
Oh my god.
Do you really? Yeah, for real? Do you think so? Do we need another Darkman?
I'd watch Darkman.
I was actually thinking about this the other day, and with studios, they think back of how popular an original movie is, or even the first movie that they put out, and thinking, can we build on that? Can we make a sequel and make it even better? And like a lot of these times, these sequels, they bomb so terribly that it ruins the whole entire series, and that's why it ends with 2.
Name a sequel you think that didn't bomb. How about that?
Name a sequel that didn't
I got
bomb.
one.
And do not say Godfather Part 2.
I got one.
No.
I'm gonna play it safe, of course. Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, I was gonna say that either. You can't say that. Those aren't touchables.
I'm thinking of recently, like in the 2000s, and
that did not bomb.
That did not bomb.
Yeah, that means that it was critically. That's another one that you're just like.
No, The Dark Knight counts because Batman Begins was the first one.
Yes.
And then Dark Knight was the sequel.
But
the sequel did better than the first.
It did better than the first one.
I like Batman Begins too. Batman Begins.
But Dark Knight is one now. Critically acclaimed. It's like one of the best movies of all time.
So back up, Steve.
So there's just too many. There's too many of those. You guys are hitting the heavy ones. I'm talking about like the Twilight 2.
Oh,
whatever it's called. I don't even know.
And Twilight.
Harry Potter
Saga.
2. I would say Harry Potter. That's actually my favorite one out of them. I don't know anything about Harry Potter.
Yeah,
but I do like
Chamber of Secrets.
That doesn't count. But you guys can't use Harry Potter.
No,
because I said so.
All right.
I'm just using Steve's logic.
Okay, so if you're gonna use my logic, Die Hard 2. That's a good one.
I disagree.
Huh? Really?
Yeah.
Die Hard 3 was better.
Yeah,
with Vengeance.
Yeah, I think Die Hard 3 was more entertaining.
Because Samuel Jackson made the film,
and because obviously it's the obvious sequel to Color of Night.
The sequel that the film needs. When are we gonna get that?
Oh my God.
For those of you who are like, rolling your eyes, yeah, I'll say it again, because he died hard with a vengeance doing that last movie.
Kind of sounds sexual, so I'll roll with it.
Hard with like so many exclamation points on that.
But I can think of other movies that the sequel just made the entire series bomb, like 21 Jump Street. 22 failed so terribly.
I didn't think the first one was good.
Yeah?
No. I don't even like the original.
I know. And it was off a 70s show, right?
Yeah. I just said I don't even like the original.
I don't
Go
know.
hit me with another one. Let's see.
Oh my gosh. trying to think of another one.
There's
A sequel that bombed so terribly.
That bombed.
Titanic 2.
Well, actually, no. You know what? Boondock Saints 2. That bombed terribly too.
Yeah, we discussed
we
that.
just
Oh
went
yeah,
over.
I mean, but that's what I'm saying. That's another movie that bombed so badly. Gosh.
There's just been too many.
Aliens 3.
Aliens 3. Well, that's.
I actually like it.
Was it? Well.
No, it's good.
The beginning kind of like slaps you in the face.
It is good. Don't you both look at me like that? like you both like, oh, this movie has something to be desired. What? Because
you're gonna justify them killing off Newton, what's his face, right in the beginning, just to get him off.
What it is what it is.
Thank you, Randy. Yeah, that's what it is, man. I'm sorry. You know, I didn't like it. Didn't like that part. They wrote them off right at the end. It's like, uh-oh, they died off screen, as Luke is famously said it on the show. You know, the story was an ending. It was an ending, whether you like it or not. It was a closure of a series. Ripley beat the alien. She killed off the species. That's why in Resurrection they had to clone her because they they had to bring back the species.
Yes.
So Ripley accomplished what she had to do. Yes, it was poorly done in the sense of, you know, they didn't have any weapons. There wasn't any crazy Marines or action scenes. But hey, we had one hell of a chase scene. Didn't like how the alien was used, the CGI. They got away from using animatronics and puppets and all that, so I wasn't a big fan of that.
Off-screen deaths.
However, it was a new alien. It was the runner alien, basically the dog. Cow in the director's cut, actually. He actually comes out of a cow. But I actually like the dog premise way better. But the speech in that movie, too, was good when they were burying Newt. And, that was good. That was a good speech for a movie. And then, you know, him talking about the birth and rebirth, and then the alien comes out. It was really good done. I thought the arc of Ripley was good, though. I thought it was good. It was an ending to a series. If Alien 3 was how the whole thing ended, if it ended in a trilogy like that, I would have been perfectly fine. Because let me tell you, after that Resurrection, people hated that even more. But Alien 3 at least brought closure. I mean, she accomplished what she had to accomplish. I don't see how you wanted it to go any other way. I mean, it even went back to the original idea of one alien and Ripley. Yeah. They even went back to the original premise.
You know, no,
terribly done.
No, I don't think it was
a bunch of no, because you know why? Here's why. The prisoners that were getting killed by the aliens,
I thought that was
by the alien, was you didn't care. Like that cast in the first one, you got to know them first. And then you care when they died.
Did you really care about needing to know about these criminals?
Yeah, that's what I mean. No. You didn't give a shit about them dying. Like, and then you didn't even see them die. Like, when they would die from the alien, it was all off screen. You didn't see, like, any chest bursting until the very end. You didn't care about what was going on, and you're just like, so what's going on? You just wanted to see Ripley.
I saw that.
You know what I mean?
I think at that point we were overall just trying to see the ending of this whole trilogy. That's me personally. I don't think there's anything wrong.
And you kind of knew that they had to kill off what's aliens. It was
necessary. It was going to happen. Ripley had to sacrifice herself. She had the last alien.
Yeah.
She had the last alien inside her. And like they brought back Bishop, and that was the whole premise of Bishop becoming, you know, Wayland, and he's actually the guy who leads the company, and all this other nostalgia that we have to this day comes from that one scene. And you know, to be honest with you, they messed up that scene, because in that scene, he doesn't say he's a robot. He actually says he's alive.
He's alive,
and then they actually, when she hits his ear, it's flesh and blood. He's not a robot, so I've always wondered if they never noticed that before. That's a huge plot hole.
Yeah, dude. Oh, my God.
I really liked Alien 3.
Chest bursting right at the moment when she's at the... she's falling. I'm like, God.
And I like the whole... No! I liked that scene. I thought it was a good scene.
No, I just felt like that was so.
I would not give Alien the.
No.
Okay, and let me tell you this too, and let me make this last point on it too.
All right.
You had Alien, one of the greatest horror films of all time, and then you had Aliens, one of the greatest sci-fi action horror films of all time. How the hell are you gonna top those two?
Don't make anything after it. Don't touch it.
You would have been well. Okay, I get what you're saying. You wanted them to just drift off in space, and that would have been it. I get you. But the fact that they did make a third one, and that was the story, and as Randy says, it is what it is. You have to take it for canon and what it was, and I thought it was a good end to a story.
I appreciate it now. I will give you that. I appreciate the story now that what we have with the Prometheus. I love Aliens 3 now. I'm like, Aliens 3 is the shit.
It is like an Oscar nominated
Right?
movie.
I can watch the Alien 3 and just be like, oh, I love it. I love it. But,
You know,
when we had it, dude, when we had it before Resurrection, because
Yeah.
we were fans way before Resurrection. I thought Resurrection wasn't that bad.
No, I think Resurrection's fine.
I think it was, but it got a lot of
Get
shit.
over the premise of her being cloned with the
Yeah.
alien. You're
Yeah,
fine.
and then,
Get
like,
over that, you're fine.
The stupid human alien thing at the end,
Like
and
I
then
said-
her bonding with it. It's get over it because
you're
there's
fine.
Yeah.
worse. There's worse.
No, my gosh. You know, I mean, like, I've actually told somebody, I mean, it's aged pretty well over time. I mean, a lot more people are starting to see, yeah, Resurrection was good at least. I mean, it's far better, like how you were saying, like Prometheus and Covenant.
Yeah, but Aliens 3 is definitely better.
You know, I'm actually gonna pop that in tonight and watch it.
It's a good film.
I know.
That's okay.
You've
I
actually
give it a
changed my
pass.
mind, Rob. I mean,
I
now that
changed
think
your
about
mind.
it, you
I
changed
changed
my
your
mind.
mind.
Yes. Now that I think about it, I mean, yeah, Aliens 3 was pretty good. I mean, if that's how they were gonna end it, that's how they were gonna
It's not
end
good.
it.
It's just tolerable now that we have worse. It's like now that we have The Last Jedi, it's like, you know what? Phantom Menace isn't that bad. The midichlorians thing,
God.
was that a bad
Oh, dude,
idea?
don't even get me
Oh,
started.
God.
Don't even get me started because I don't want to get
That's
into
like
these
another can
little
of worms.
entertaining these stupid little internet Star Wars trolls.
Yeah,
Like,
political
Qui-Gon
thing.
Jinn is such a smart Jedi. Yeah, the midichlorian thing, that was good. Yeah, it almost ruined Star Wars. Yeah, good job.
And he was the one who brought it up. I'm sensing a strong midichlorians in the
Also,
kid.
too,
Really?
I love, too, everyone's like, no, he was the smartest Jedi of them all. The guy who brought Anakin in and basically killed everybody off, that's the guy you think is the
Right.
smartest Jedi?
The smartest Jedi that they said of all the Jedis ever to exist. It's ridiculous. And then they're like, you know what? This kid that you brought in that's super powerful, I don't think that he's a good idea to train him. Oh, yeah, trust me, I know what I'm doing. Yeah, no, he's not that smart.
Alright, and this is going to be your Real Sharks podcast. I'm your host, Rob, with Steve and Billy.
See you guys next time.
Yep.
And we'll catch you guys on the flip side from episode 13 from 20,000 Leagues in the Sea.